A man stumbled through the door of Eden's coffee shop, blood dripping from his split lip onto her clean floor. His shirt was torn, his breathing ragged. Eden didn't scream. She didn't freeze. Instead, she rushed forward, her hands already reaching for the first aid kit beneath the counter. "Sit," she said gently, guiding him to the nearest chair. Her voice was warm, steady, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. The man's eyes were wild with fear, darting toward the window every few seconds. "They're coming. They'll find me." Eden pressed a clean towel against his bleeding forehead. "You're safe now. I promise." She smiled. That smile. The kind that made strangers believe in second chances, that made broken people feel whole again, even if just for a moment. Across the street, hidden in the shadows between two buildings, Min-yoon watched through the coffee shop window. His dark eyes tracked every movement, every touch, every gentle gesture Eden made toward the bleeding man. His hand tightened around the grip of the gun tucked inside his jacket. He'd been sent to finish the job. The man in that chair had stolen from the Choi family. Stolen from Min-yoon's boss. The punishment was death. Always death. Min-yoon never hesitated. Never questioned. He was called the Silent Blade for a reason. 20 years of killing without emotion, without mercy, without a single moment of doubt. But then Eden smiled, and something in Min-yoon's chest cracked. He watched her bandage the man's wounds, watched her bring him water, watched her squeeze his trembling hand and whisper words of comfort. The man's fear melted away. He actually smiled back at her. Min-yoon's jaw clenched. He should walk in right now. Should finish this. But his feet wouldn't move. For the first time in 2 decades, Min-yoon walked away from a kill. The next morning, that man disappeared. No body was ever found. The Choi family handled it quietly, as they always did. And Eden never knew that her smile had signed a death warrant. 3 days later, the coffee shop door chimed. Eden looked up from grinding fresh Ethiopian beans, her face brightening instantly. "Good morning. What can I get you?" The man who entered didn't smile back. Tall, broad shoulders, expensive black suit that screamed money and danger. His face was carved from stone, all sharp angles and cold edges. But his eyes were the darkest thing about him. Empty, like staring into a void. "Black coffee," he said. His voice was low, quiet, but it carried weight. "Just black? No sugar? No milk?" Eden tilted her head, already moving behind the espresso machine. "Black." She studied him for a moment, then smiled that devastating smile. "You look like someone who needs more than black coffee. Let me make you something special." I said black. And I heard you. But trust me on this. Min-yoon's eye twitched. People didn't disobey him. Ever. But before he could respond, she was already working, her hands moving with practiced ease. The rich aroma of coffee filled the small shop. She hummed while she worked, some melody he didn't recognize. She placed the cup in front of him. "Ethiopian blend. My grandmother's recipe. Try it before you argue." He stared at the cup, then at her. She was still smiling. Waiting. Genuinely curious if he'd like it. Min-yoon picked up the cup and drank. It was perfect. He said nothing. Just left cash on the counter, twice the amount owed, and walked out without another word. Eden watched him go, hands on her hips. Not even a thank you? Rude. From behind the espresso machine, her employee and best friend Sarah emerged, dark eyes narrowed. "That man has dead eyes, Eden. Stay away from him. Everyone deserves kindness, Sarah. Not everyone. Trust me." But Eden just shook her head, already cleaning the counter, already humming again. Min-yoon came back the next day. Same time. Same order. "Black coffee," he said. Eden grinned. "Ethiopian special coming right up." I said black. And I said trust me. This time, the corner of his mouth almost twitched. Almost. He came back every day that week. Always silent. Always left generous tips. Never smiled. Eden made it her personal mission to crack that frozen exterior. "So, what do you do?" she asked on day 5, leaning against the counter. "Work." "What kind of work?" "The kind that pays well." "Mysterious." "I like it." She winked. Min-yoon's fingers tightened around his cup. That wink. It did something to his carefully controlled composure. "Why do you smile so much?" he asked suddenly. Eden blinked, surprised he'd initiated conversation. Why not? Life's too short to be miserable. Some people have reasons to be miserable. Then they have even more reason to smile. Smiling is an act of rebellion. He stared at her like she'd just spoken a foreign language. That's foolish. Maybe. But I'd rather be a happy fool than a miserable genius. For a long moment, neither spoke. The coffee shop around them buzzed with morning customers, but in that bubble, it was just them. Eden's warm brown eyes meeting Min Yoon's cold black ones. You're strange, he said finally. She laughed. I'll take that as a compliment. After he left, Sarah pulled Eden aside. Do you know who that is? Mr. Tall, dark, and grumpy? No. Should I? Sarah's expression was grim. I've seen him before. In photos. Underground networks. Eden, that man is dangerous. Everyone's dangerous to someone. I'm serious. That man has killed people. Eden's smile faltered for just a second. Then it returned, softer but no less determined. Then maybe he needs kindness more than anyone. What Eden didn't know was that Min Yoon sat in his car outside her shop every morning for an extra 30 minutes, just watching. Watching her greet customers. Watching her light up the whole street with her presence. Watching men smile at her, flirt with her, linger too long at the counter. And every time a man touched her hand during a transaction, every time someone made her laugh, Min Yoon's knuckles turned white against the steering wheel. On the 8th day, a delivery man arrived with Eden's supply order. Young, handsome, overly friendly. Eden. Beautiful as always, he said, leaning against the doorframe. She laughed, signing for the boxes. You're too much, Jay. I mean it. When are you finally going to let me take you to dinner? Jay, we've talked about this. Come on. One dinner. What's the harm? He reached out, touching her arm playfully. From his usual corner table, Min Yoon's coffee cup cracked in his grip. Hot liquid spilled over his hand. He didn't flinch. Didn't look away from that hand on Eden's arm. Sarah noticed. She'd been watching Min Yoon watch Eden all week. And what she saw in his eyes right now terrified her. Eden, the storage room needs organizing, Sarah called out quickly. In a minute. Now, please. Eden caught the urgency in Sarah's tone. She excused herself, leaving Jay to unload boxes by himself. Min Yoon stood, walked to the door, stopped beside the delivery man. She's busy, Min Yoon said quietly. Jay looked up, irritated. Who are you, her boyfriend? No. Then mind your business. Min Yoon leaned in close, his voice dropping to a whisper that only Jay could hear. Touch her again, and you'll need new hands. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Jay's face went pale. He saw something in Min Yoon's eyes, something primal and terrifying, and every instinct screamed at him to run. He grabbed his clipboard and practically sprinted out the door. Eden emerged from the storage room. Where'd Jay go? Emergency, Sarah said quickly. He had to leave. Eden frowned but shrugged. Min Yoon was back at his table, sipping his coffee like nothing had happened. But Sarah saw his eyes. Still locked on the door. Still burning with something dark and possessive. The next morning, a different delivery person showed up. Eden asked about Jay. He quit, the new guy said. Took a job in Busan. Left last night. Eden's brow furrowed. That's sudden. After the delivery guy left, Sarah pulled Eden into the back. This is the third one. Third what? Third person who's gotten close to you and suddenly disappeared. What are you talking about? Sarah counted on her fingers. The regular who asked you out last week? Transferred to the States. The guy who brought you flowers? Moved back to his hometown. Now, Jay? Eden, something's wrong. You're being paranoid. Am I? Or are you being blind? Eden wanted to argue, but doubt crept in. She thought about the pattern. About Min Yoon's constant presence. About the way he watched everything, everyone. That evening, after closing, Eden cleaned the last table. She was alone. Sarah had left early. The street outside was dark, quiet. The door chimed. Min Yoon stepped inside. We're closed, Eden said, but her voice wavered. He locked the door behind him. Turned the sign to closed. Eden's heart hammered. What are you doing? He walked toward her slowly. Deliberately. Like a predator stalking prey. Are you following me? The question came out shakier than she intended. He stopped a few feet away. In the dim light of the coffee shop, his features looked even sharper, more dangerous. Yes. The admission hung in the air like a blade. Why? His jaw clenched. Unclenched. She could see the war happening behind those empty eyes. Because the world is dangerous for people like you. People like me? People who smile like they've never been hurt. Eden's breath caught. She stepped closer, not away. I've been hurt plenty. I just refuse to become darkness. Something flickered in his expression. Pain, maybe. Or recognition. Then you're a fool. Maybe. But I'd rather be a foolish light than wise darkness. Min Yoon's hands curled into fists at his sides. He wanted to leave. Needed to leave. She was getting too close, seeing too much. But his feet stayed planted. The people who get close to you, he said quietly. They disappear because of me. Eden's eyes widened. What? I make them leave. Threaten them. Pay them off. Whatever it takes. Why would you do that? The question seemed to break something in him. His control, carefully maintained for 20 years, cracked. Because I can't stand watching you smile at them. The confession landed between them like a grenade. If you're already hooked by Min Yoon's dangerous obsession, hit that like button and drop a comment telling us what you think Eden should do. Run? Or stay? Let's see your answers. And don't forget to subscribe. Eden's hands trembled. Not from fear. From something else entirely. Something she couldn't name. You're insane, she whispered. I know. You can't just threaten people because I'm friendly to them. I can. I have. I will continue to. She shook her head, backing up against the counter. This isn't normal. This isn't okay. Min Yoon finally moved, closing the distance between them in 2 strides. He didn't touch her, but he was close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. Close enough to see the storm brewing in those dark eyes. Nothing about me is normal, he said, voice rough. I've killed more people than you've served coffee to. I've done things that would make you run screaming. But you. He exhaled sharply. You smile at strangers like they're worth saving. You made me coffee when I didn't deserve kindness. You look at me like I'm human. Eden's heart pounded so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. You're human. No. I stopped being human at 14 when I killed my first man. The admission should have terrified her. Should have sent her running. Instead, Eden saw something in his face that made her chest ache. Not a monster. A man who'd convinced himself he was one. Who made you believe that? She asked softly. Min Yoon flinched like she'd slapped him. Nobody had ever asked him that. Nobody had ever questioned the narrative he'd built around himself. It doesn't matter. It does to me. Why? The word came out almost desperate. Why do you care? Eden reached up slowly, giving him time to pull away. Her fingers brushed his cheek. He froze completely, every muscle in his body going rigid. Because everyone deserves to be seen, she said. Even you. For a moment, Min Yoon's eyes closed. His hand came up, covering hers against his face. His palm was rough, calloused, warm. Then reality crashed back. He jerked away like her touch burned him. Stay away from me, he said, already moving toward the door. I'm not someone you can fix. I'm not trying to fix you. He stopped, hand on the doorknob. Then what are you trying to do? See you. Just see you. Min Yoon unlocked the door and disappeared into the night without another word. But his chest felt tight, his hands shaking for the first time in years. Eden stood alone in her empty coffee shop, her own hand still tingling from where it had touched his face. Sarah found her like that 20 minutes later, standing frozen in the middle of the shop. Eden? What happened? I think I just made a terrible mistake. What kind of mistake? Eden turned to her friend, eyes wide. I think I'm starting to care about him. Sarah grabbed her shoulders. No, absolutely not. Eden, that man is a killer. I know. He's dangerous. I know. He's been stalking you, threatening people. I know. Eden pulled away, running her hands through her curls. I know all of that, Sarah. But you didn't see his face. You didn't see how broken he looked. Broken men are still dangerous. Or maybe they're just men who need someone to believe they can be more. Sarah stared at her friend like she'd lost her mind. You're going to get yourself killed. Maybe. But I'd rather die trying to see the good in people than live afraid of the bad. Min Yoon didn't come back the next day. Or the day after that. Eden told herself it was for the best. Told herself she should be relieved. But every time the door chimed, her heart jumped. And every time it wasn't him, disappointment settled heavy in her chest. On the third day, she was restocking the pastry case when she heard glass shatter. She spun around to find a brick on her floor, a note wrapped around it. Sarah grabbed it first, her face going pale as she read. "What does it say?" Eden demanded. Sarah handed it over silently. The note was simple. Typed. And signed. "Stop smiling. Or everyone you smile at dies. You have 48 hours. Eden's hands shook. "This is a joke. It has to be a joke." "It's not." The voice came from the doorway. Minyoon stood there, his face darker than she'd ever seen it. He crossed the room in quick strides, snatching the note from her hands. His jaw clenched as he read it. "Choi," he said quietly. Dangerously. "Who's Choi?" Eden asked. "My boss. The man I work for." Minyoon looked at her, and for the first time, she saw genuine fear in his eyes. Not for himself. For her. "You need to leave Seoul. Tonight." "I'm not running." "Eden, you don't understand. Choi Jinwoo doesn't make empty threats." "Why would your boss threaten me?" Minyoon's silence was answer enough. Sarah put the pieces together first. "Because of you," Sarah said, pointing at Minyoon. "Because she matters to you, and he knows it." Minyoon didn't deny it. "I'll handle this." "How?" Eden demanded. "By killing him? If necessary." "No." Eden stepped between him and the door. "You're not killing anyone because of me." "Then what do you suggest?" "Let him kill you instead." "I suggest we think. There has to be another way." "There isn't. Not in my world." "Then maybe you need to leave your world." Minyoon laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You think it's that simple? You think I can just walk away? People do it every day. Not people like me. I'm his weapon, Eden. His silent blade. I don't get to retire. I don't get to choose peace." He moved closer, his voice dropping to something raw and honest. "The moment I started caring about you, I signed your death warrant. And mine." Eden's breath caught at the admission. "You care about me?" "Of course I care about you. Why do you think I've been torturing myself, watching you every day, knowing I can never touch you, never have you?" His control finally snapped. "You smile at the world like it's not full of monsters. But I'm one of those monsters, Eden. And now the worst monster of all knows you matter to me." Before Eden could respond, the door burst open. 6 men in expensive suits flooded inside. At the center stood a man in his 40s, silver-streaked hair, sharp suit, sharper eyes. "Choi Jinwoo." "How touching," Choi said, his voice smooth as silk and twice as deadly. "The silent blade has found his weakness." Minyoon moved instantly, putting himself between Eden and Choi. "She's not part of this." "Oh, but she is." "The moment you hesitated on a kill for her, she became part of this." Choi's gaze slid past Minyoon to Eden. "So this is the woman with the famous smile." Eden's instinct was to step back, to hide. But something in her refused. She met Choi's gaze directly. "I don't know what's happening here, but threatening innocent people makes you a coward." Sarah grabbed Eden's arm. "Don't provoke him." But Choi laughed. A genuine, delighted laugh. "Spirit. I like that." He took a step closer. Minyoon's hand moved inside his jacket, toward his gun. Choi warned. "You pull that gun, and my men kill everyone in this shop. Including your precious coffee girl." Minyoon's hand stilled, but his body remained coiled, ready to strike. Choi circled them slowly, like a shark testing the water. "I have a proposal. For you, miss." "Eden. Eden Hiley. Eden. Beautiful name. Ethiopian, yes? I can smell it in the coffee." He gestured around the shop. "You've built something lovely here. It would be a shame if it burned down." "What do you want?" Eden asked, voice steadier than she felt. "Simple. Leave Seoul. Tonight. Disappear. Never contact Minyoon again. Do this, and everyone you care about lives. And if I don't?" Choi's smile turned cold. "Then I'll kill everyone who's ever seen that smile. Your customers. Your friends. Your family back in Addis Ababa. Yes, I know about them. I know everything." Eden felt the blood drain from her face. Sarah's grip on her arm tightened. "She'll go," Minyoon said. "Give me your word she'll be safe, and she'll leave." "No." Eden pulled away from Sarah, stepping forward. "I'm not leaving." "Eden," Minyoon started. "I'm not running because some criminal threatens me. I left Ethiopia to escape fear. I'm not doing it again." Choi's eyebrows rose. "Brave. Foolish, but brave." He turned to Minyoon. You've really chosen her? Over everything I've given you? The power, the money, the purpose. Yes. The single word hung in the air like a guillotine blade. Choi's expression hardened. Then you've chosen death. Both of you. He snapped his fingers. His men moved forward. Min Yoon pulled his gun. Everything happened at once. Sarah screamed. Eden lunged forward. A shot rang out. But it wasn't from Min Yoon's gun. Choi staggered back, clutching his shoulder. His men drew weapons, chaos erupting in the small coffee shop. Min Yoon grabbed Eden, shoving her behind the counter. Stay down. More gunfire. Glass shattering. Sarah crawling toward them, tears streaming down her face. Min Yoon returned fire with lethal precision. 3 of Choi's men dropped. The others scattered, dragging their wounded boss toward the door. This isn't over. Choi shouted, blood spreading across his expensive suit. I'll burn everything you love to the ground, Min Yoon. Starting with her. Then they were gone, tires squealing as cars sped away. The coffee shop fell silent except for Eden's ragged breathing and Sarah's quiet sobbing. Min Yoon turned to find Eden staring at him, eyes wide with shock. He'd just killed 3 men in front of her. Shattered the peaceful world she'd built. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm so sorry. But Eden surprised him. She stood up, walked over, and threw her arms around him. Min Yoon froze, unsure what to do. His hands hovered at her sides, not quite touching. You saved us, she whispered against his chest. Slowly, carefully, his arms came around her. For the first time since he was 14 years old, Min Yoon held someone gently. The police came, then left. Money exchanged hands. Stories were arranged. In Seoul's underworld, violence was negotiated, not prosecuted. By midnight, Eden sat in Min Yoon's car, watching her coffee shop disappear in the rearview mirror. Sarah had gone to stay with relatives across the city, and Eden was being taken to the one place Choi wouldn't immediately strike. Min Yoon's apartment. The penthouse was exactly what she expected. Minimalist. Cold. Expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. But no photographs. No personal items. No warmth. You can take the bedroom, Min Yoon said, his voice carefully neutral. I'll sleep on the couch. Eden turned to face him. Her hands were still shaking. Not from fear of what happened, but from the reality of what this meant. He's going to kill us, isn't he? Min Yoon set his gun on the counter. He's going to try. Because you chose me. Yes. Then unchoose me. Eden's voice cracked. Go back to him. Tell him I meant nothing. Tell him whatever he needs to hear. Just make this stop. Min Yoon crossed the room in 3 strides, gripping her shoulders. I can't. Why not? Because you're the first real thing I've felt in 20 years. His voice was rough, desperate. Because when you smile, I remember what it feels like to be human. Because I've killed 53 people, and not one of them haunts me, but the thought of you dying tears me apart. Tears spilled down Eden's cheeks. I don't want you to die for me. Then we find another way. What other way? He runs half of Seoul. Then I kill him first. And become exactly what he made you? Eden shook her head. No. There has to be another way. Min Yoon's hands slid from her shoulders to cup her face, thumbs brushing away her tears. In my world, there is no other way. Violence is the only language men like Choi understand. Then teach me your world. Help me understand. Eden's hands came up to cover his. Because I'm not leaving you. And I'm not running. So we either find a solution together or we go down together. Something broke in Min Yoon's expression. Years of control, of keeping everyone at arm's length shattered. He leaned down, resting his forehead against hers. You're going to get yourself killed, he whispered. Probably. But at least I'll die having lived. They stood like that for a long moment, breathing each other's air, Seoul's lights twinkling behind them like fallen stars. Then Min Yoon's phone rang. He pulled away reluctantly, checking the screen. His expression darkened. It's him. Eden straightened. Answer it. Put it on speaker. Min Yoon hesitated, then did as she asked. Choi's voice filled the apartment, smooth despite the pain he must be in. Min Yoon, you shot me. I'm almost impressed. You threatened her. And you chose her over your family. Over everything I built you into. A pause. Tell me, does she know what you really are? Have you told her about the journalist? The one who tried to expose our operations? How you made it look like suicide. Eden's face paled, but she didn't look away from Min-yoon. Or the politician's daughter? Choi continued. The pretty one who witnessed a murder. You strangled her yourself. Made her beg first. Stop. Min-yoon's voice was deadly quiet. Why? Isn't she curious about the man she's protecting? About how many innocents you've murdered? Choi laughed. I made you into a perfect weapon, Min-yoon. You don't get to pretend to be anything else now. Eden reached out, taking Min-yoon's free hand. He tried to pull away, but she held firm. I'm not pretending, Min-yoon said. I know what I am. Good. Then you know this ends one way. Bring her to me. Tomorrow night. The warehouse on Gangnam Pier. Come alone with her, and I'll make it quick. Painless. For both of you. Go to hell. I'll see you there. 24 hours, Min-yoon. After that, I start killing her loved ones. Starting with that loyal friend of hers. Sarah, wasn't it? The line went dead. Min-yoon threw his phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. He stood there, chest heaving, every muscle tense with rage and helplessness. Eden moved in front of him, forcing him to look at her. Did you do those things? The journalist? The politician's daughter. He met her gaze unflinchingly. Yes. Did they beg? Yes. Did you feel anything? Min-yoon's jaw clenched. No. Not then. I was good at not feeling. It's what made me valuable. And now? Now I feel everything. And it's destroying me. Eden's hands slid up his chest, around his neck. Good. Feel it. All of it. Because that's what makes you human. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I'm not offering forgiveness. I'm offering understanding. She pulled him closer. You were a child when this started. Someone made you into this. That doesn't erase what you've done, but it means you can choose to be something different. It's too late for that. It's never too late. Min-yoon's control finally shattered completely. He pulled her against him, one hand fisting in her hair, the other wrapping around her waist. I don't know how to be different. Then learn. With me. He pulled back just enough to look at her face. Why? Why do you believe in me? Because you walked away from that first kill. Because you could have let Choi hurt me today, but you didn't. Because when you hold me, your hands shake like you're afraid you'll break me. She smiled softly. Because underneath all that death, you're still trying to be alive. Min-yoon's thumb traced her lower lip. You're the most terrifying person I've ever met. Me? I make coffee for a living. Exactly. You make coffee and smile at strangers and believe in redemption. That's more dangerous than any weapon I've ever carried. Eden laughed, the sound watery, but genuine. Are you saying I'm scarier than a mob boss? Infinitely. His voice dropped lower. Because you make me want things I can never have. Like what? Like mornings. And futures. And reasons to stay alive beyond the next kill. Eden's breath caught. The air between them felt charged, electric. Seoul glittered beyond the windows, oblivious to the war being waged in this apartment. Min-yoon, she whispered. Don't say my name like that. Like what? Like I'm worth saving. You are. I'm not. Prove it. Show me the monster. If you're really as dead inside as you claim, prove it. It was a challenge. A dare. And Min-yoon had never backed down from either. He kissed her. Hard. Desperate. Pouring 20 years of suppressed emotion into it. It wasn't gentle. Wasn't soft. It was raw and consuming and tasted like goodbye. Eden kissed him back with equal intensity, her fingers tangling in his hair, pulling him closer. She wasn't afraid. Wasn't hesitating. She met his desperation with her own. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Min-yoon stared at her like she was a miracle he didn't deserve. I felt that, he said roughly. Every second of it. That's not monster behavior. No, Eden agreed, her lips swollen, eyes bright. That's human behavior. He rested his forehead against hers again, hands framing her face like she was something precious and breakable. I don't know how to protect you from this. Then we protect each other. You don't know how to fight. No, but I know how to survive. I survived grief when my fiancé died. Survived leaving everything I knew in Ethiopia. Survived building a new life in a foreign country. Her hands covered his. I can survive this too. With you. Min-yoon's eyes closed. Your fiancé. You never talk about him. His name was Samuel. Car accident. 3 years ago. Eden's voice softened. I stopped smiling for a year after he died. Everything felt gray, empty. Then one day, I woke up and realized that staying sad wouldn't bring him back. But choosing joy might honor him. So you smile to remember him. I smile because life is short and pain is guaranteed, but joy is a choice. Every single day, it's a choice. She pulled back to look at him fully. You can make that choice too. I don't know if I remember how. Then I'll teach you. Just like you'll teach me how to survive your world. A ghost of a smile touched Min-yoon's lips. Barely there, but real. That's a terrible trade. My world for your smile. Good thing I'm not offering a trade. I'm offering a partnership. Partnerships require trust. Do you trust me? Min-yoon considered the question seriously. With my life. Just not with your own. Eden grinned. Then we're already halfway there. Despite everything, Min-yoon felt something unfamiliar bloom in his chest. Something warm and terrifying and completely foreign. Hope. We have 24 hours, he said. Choi will send men before then to test our defenses. Then we prepare. You need to learn how to use a gun. I'm a pacifist. Pacifists die first in war. Fine. Teach me. Eden straightened her shoulders. But I'm not killing anyone. Even to save your own life? She hesitated. I'll wound if necessary. But I won't become what Choi wants me to become. A reason for you to embrace more violence. Min-yoon studied her, this impossible woman who insisted on maintaining her light even in his darkness. You're going to get us both killed. Maybe. Or maybe we'll survive and prove that there's another way. He wanted to believe her. God, how he wanted to believe her. Instead, he took her hand and led her to his weapons cache hidden behind a false wall. Guns. Knives. Ammunition. Everything needed for war. Eden stared at the arsenal with wide eyes. Rows of guns mounted on the wall. Knives of every size. Boxes of ammunition stacked neatly. This wasn't just a collection. This was a lifetime of violence organized with surgical precision. How many of these have you used? She asked quietly. All of them. She reached out, fingers hovering over a particularly wicked-looking blade. And this one. That's for close work. When you need silence. Silence. Eden's hand dropped. You mean when you need someone to die without screaming? Min-yoon didn't flinch from the accusation in her tone. Yes. She turned to face him, searching his expression. Do you regret any of it? I didn't. Not until I met you. He pulled a smaller handgun from the wall, checking the chamber with practiced ease. Now I regret all of it. That's progress. That's torture. Eden took the gun he offered, the weight unfamiliar in her palm. Show me. For the next 2 hours, Min-yoon taught her the basics. Stance. Grip. Sight alignment. He stood behind her, his body pressed against hers, hands guiding her arms into position. Breathe out slowly, he murmured against her ear. Squeeze the trigger, don't pull. Eden tried to focus on his instructions, but his proximity made concentration difficult. His breath warm on her neck. His chest solid against her back. His hands steady over hers. Like this, she asked, her voice shakier than she intended. Exactly like that. His voice had dropped lower, rougher. He was affected too. She squeezed the trigger. The gun clicked empty. He'd removed the ammunition for practice. Good. Again. They repeated the motion a dozen times. Each repetition bringing them closer, the air between them growing heavier with unspoken tension. Finally, Eden lowered the gun and turned in his arms. They were inches apart. His dark eyes intense on hers. If we survive tomorrow, she said softly, what happens after? I don't think about after. Why not? Because men like me don't get an after. We get until. Until someone faster comes along. Until we make a mistake. Until we care about something more than survival. His hand came up, tucking a curl behind her ear. You're my until, Eden. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. It's realistic. It's giving up. She grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer. I refuse to be your beautiful ending, Min-yoon. I want to be your beginning. You don't know what you're asking. Then tell me. Explain it to me. Min-yoon's jaw clenched. If we survive Choi, others will come. The Choi family has allies. Rivals who'll see my betrayal as weakness. Every day we'll be looking over our shoulders. Every smile you give a stranger could be the one that gets us killed. Then I'll be more careful with my smiles. You shouldn't have to be. But I will be. For you. For us. Eden's hands slid up his chest. You've spent 20 years being what others made you. Don't you want to discover what you could be on your own? I'm afraid I'll discover I'm still a monster. And I'm afraid I'm falling in love with you anyway. The confession hung between them like a live wire. Min Yoon's eyes widened, genuine shock breaking through his control. You can't, he said. You can't love me. Too late. Eden. I know it's crazy. I know it's fast. I know you've killed people and threatened innocent men and stalked me like a psychopath. She laughed, the sound half hysterical. But when you hold me, I feel safer than I've ever felt. When you look at me, I feel seen. And when you kissed me earlier, I felt alive. Min Yoon backed her against the wall, hands braced on either side of her head. You feel alive because you're alive. Beautiful and warm and everything good in this world. I feel alive because I've been dead for 20 years, and you're like a defibrillator to my chest. That's the most romantic medical metaphor I've ever heard. Despite everything, he almost smiled. You're insane. Probably. But you like it. I more than like it. That's the problem. His forehead dropped to hers. I don't know how to do this. Relationship. Care. Love. I know how to kill. How to disappear. How to become whoever the job needs me to be. But being myself? I don't even know who that is. Then we'll figure it out together. You're not listening. I'm dangerous, Eden. Not just because of Choi. Because of me. My instincts. My training. You smiled at that delivery man and I wanted to break his hands. You laughed with a customer and I fantasized about making him disappear. That's not normal. That's not healthy. No, it's not, Eden agreed calmly. It's possessive and controlling and absolutely something we'll need to work on. But it's also honest. You're not hiding it from me. You're warning me. That matters. Min Yoon pulled back to study her face. You should be running. I tried to tell you. I'm done running. Even from this? Especially from this. She reached up, tracing the sharp line of his jaw. Because underneath all that jealousy and possessiveness, you're terrified of losing something good. That means you recognize good when you see it. And that means you're not as lost as you think. You're giving me too much credit. And you're not giving yourself enough. He captured her hand, pressing a kiss to her palm. The gesture was so unexpectedly tender that Eden's breath caught. If we survive tomorrow, he said against her skin, I'll try. I'll try to be better. To control the jealousy. To let you smile at whoever you want without imagining violence. That's all I ask. Trying. But I can't promise I'll succeed. No one can promise that. But the effort matters. Min Yoon's phone buzzed. They both tensed. He checked it, his expression darkening. What is it? Eden asked. Sarah. She's at Seoul Presbyterian Hospital. Eden's stomach dropped. What happened? Choi's men. She's alive, but injured. It's a message. He showed her the attached photo. Sarah in a hospital bed, face bruised, arm in a sling. And written on the wall behind her in red paint, 20 hours left. Rage flooded through Eden, hot and consuming. He hurt her to get to me. To get to both of us. Min Yoon was already moving, grabbing weapons, loading magazines. He's accelerating the timeline. Trying to make us emotional. Reckless. It's working. I know. Which is why we need to think clearly. He handed her the gun they'd been practicing with, now loaded. Keep this on you. Safety here. Point and shoot if anyone threatens you. Aim for center mass, not the head. Eden took the gun with shaking hands. I need to see Sarah. That's what he wants. He'll have men at the hospital. I don't care. She's there because of me. Min Yoon grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to focus. She's there because of Choi. Don't give him what he wants. Don't play his game. Then what do? We change the rules. He pulled out his phone, dialing. I'm calling in favors. People who owe me. People who hate Choi as much as I do now. Will they help? For the right price. Everything's a transaction in my world. Our world, Eden corrected. We're in this together, remember? Something softened in his expression. Our world. It sounds strange. Get used to it. Over the next hour, Min Yoon made calls. Careful, coded conversations with people whose names Eden didn't recognize. Each call was negotiation. Information traded for future favors. Alliance built on mutual benefit rather than trust. Eden sat on the couch, gun on the table beside her, listening to him work. This was his element. Strategy. Calculation. Playing chess with human lives. Finally, he hung up and came to sit beside her. It's done. We have help. Not much, but enough. What's the plan? We don't go to the warehouse tomorrow. We go tonight. Now. Before Choi expects us. Eden's eyes widened. That's insane. That's why it might work. He's expecting us to wait, to panic, to make mistakes. Instead, we bring the fight to him on our terms. With what army? With 3 very skilled, very expensive mercenaries who hate Choi because he killed their former employer. With blueprints of the warehouse I memorized years ago. With the element of surprise. He took her hand. And with you. What can I possibly do? Survive. Stay alive. Give me a reason to make it through this. His grip tightened. That's all I need from you, Eden. Stay alive. What about you? What if you don't make it? Then at least I died for something that mattered. He pulled her close, kissing her forehead. For someone who reminded me I'm human. Eden wrapped her arms around him, holding tight. We're both making it through this. Both of us. Together. Optimistic until the end. Damn right. Min-yoon's phone buzzed again. A text with coordinates and a time. 2 hours from now. That's the meet point, he said. The mercenaries. After that, we go to war. Eden pulled back, meeting his eyes with determination. Then let's go to war. They gathered weapons. Spare ammunition. Kevlar vests that Min-yoon insisted she wear despite her protests. He moved with military efficiency, every action purposeful and practiced. Eden watched him transform. The man who'd held her gently became someone else. Something else. The silent blade. A weapon honed by years of violence. But when he looked at her, softness crept back into his eyes. Stay close to me, he said. No matter what happens, stay close. I will. If I tell you to run, you run. Not happening. Eden. We survive together or not at all. That's the deal. The meeting point was an abandoned subway station on Seoul's outskirts. Graffiti covered the walls. Water dripped from cracked ceilings. The perfect place for deals made in darkness. 3 figures emerged from the shadows as Min-yoon and Eden descended the broken escalator. 2 men and 1 woman. All carrying enough weapons to start a small war. Min-yoon, the woman said, her voice accented with Russian inflection. Heard you finally grew a conscience. Didn't believe it until now. Nadia. Min-yoon nodded respectfully. Thanks for coming. Don't thank me. You're paying premium rates for this insanity. Her sharp eyes fixed on Eden. So this is the woman worth dying for? Eden stepped forward, extending her hand. Eden highly. And I'd prefer if nobody died tonight. Nadia's eyebrows rose. She looked at Min-yoon. She's serious? Unfortunately. I like her. Nadia shook Eden's hand firmly. But sweetness won't save you from Choi's men. They're trained to kill without hesitation. Then it's good I have all of you. The taller of the 2 men chuckled darkly. Optimist. Those don't last long in our business. Good thing I'm not in your business, Eden replied evenly. Min-yoon made introductions. Nadia, former Russian intelligence. Marcus, ex-Navy SEAL gone private. And Jean, a Korean specialist in extraction and demolitions. The warehouse has 3 entrances, Min-yoon explained, pulling up blueprints on his phone. Main door here. Loading dock. And a ventilation shaft that leads to the basement office where Choi will be. Let me guess, Marcus said. You want the girl to wait in the car like a good civilian? No, Eden and Min-yoon said simultaneously. Marcus grinned. Interesting. She stays with me, Min-yoon continued. Goes where I go. Non-negotiable. Nadia studied them both with calculating eyes. You love her. It wasn't a question. Min-yoon didn't deny it. Love makes you weak, Jean observed. Or gives you something worth fighting for, Eden countered. Pretty words. Let's see if they stop bullets. But Jean smiled slightly, approving. The plan was simple but brutal. Marcus and Jean would hit the main entrance hard and loud, drawing most of Choi's security. Nadia would take the loading dock, cutting off escape routes. And Min-yoon would take Eden through the ventilation shaft directly to Choi. What's to stop him from killing you both the moment you appear? Nadia asked. His ego, Min-yoon replied. He'll want to talk first. Wants to understand why his perfect weapon broke. He'll monologue, threaten, try to psychological warfare. That's when we strike. And if he just shoots you, then make sure you get Eden out. No, Eden said firmly. If he shoots you, I'm staying. Eden. I mean it, Min-yoon. I told you. Together or not at all. The mercenaries exchanged glances. Nadia spoke first. I'm changing my rate. This level of crazy deserves combat pay. 20 minutes later, they approached the warehouse. Dark. Seemingly empty. But Min-yoon knew better. Choi would have at least 20 men inside. Maybe more. Marcus and Jean split off, disappearing into the night. Nadia gave Eden one last assessing look. If you survive this, look me up. I'll teach you to shoot properly. If I survive this, I'm never touching a gun again. Famous last words. Nadia vanished toward the loading dock. Min-yoon led Eden around the perimeter to the ventilation shaft. Rusted metal. Barely wide enough for a person. He pried it open with a crowbar. You'll go first, he said. I'll be right behind you. 15 feet down, then straight ahead. The shaft opens into the basement ceiling. There's a drop of about 8 feet. Eden peered into the darkness. I'm afraid of heights. That's the least of our problems tonight. Fair point. She took a deep breath. Okay, I can do this. Min-yoon caught her hand before she climbed in. Eden, if something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. But if it does, I need you to know. He pulled her close, kissing her hard and desperate. I need you to know that you saved me. Even if we don't make it out, you saved me. Tears pricked Eden's eyes. We're making it out. Both of us. And then you're taking me on a proper date. Coffee shop owner and reformed assassin. Very normal. Despite everything, Min-yoon smiled. A real smile. Small, but genuine. Deal. Eden climbed into the shaft. The metal was cold, slick with condensation. She crawled forward in near total darkness, Min-yoon's steady breathing behind her the only thing keeping panic at bay. Then gunfire erupted above them. Marcus and Jin's entrance. Loud. Explosive. Perfect. Keep moving, Min-yoon urged. They'll be distracted now. Eden's hands scraped against sharp metal. Her knees ached. But she pushed forward until she reached the drop point. Below, through a rusty grate, she could see Choi's office. Expensive furniture. Computers. And Choi himself, standing by the window, watching the chaos outside with cold amusement. 3 guards stood with him, all armed. Min-yoon positioned himself beside Eden, peering through the grate. He pulled out his phone, texting Nadia. 30 seconds, the reply came. When I say go, we drop together. Aim for the desk. It'll provide cover. His voice was barely a whisper. Eden nodded, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. On 3. 1, 2. An explosion rocked the warehouse. Nadia's work. The lights flickered and died, emergency systems kicking in with dim red lighting. 3. Min-yoon kicked the grate. It crashed down. They dropped together into chaos. Eden hit the desk hard, pain shooting through her shoulder. Min-yoon landed in a crouch, gun already firing. 2 guards dropped before they could react. The 3rd managed to shoot back, bullets tearing through the desk inches from Eden's head. Min-yoon moved like liquid death, rolling left, firing twice. The 3rd guard fell. Choi stood unfazed by the window, hands behind his back. Impressive entrance. I taught you well. You taught me how to kill. Eden taught me how to live. Touching. Choi turned slowly. His shoulder was bandaged where Min-yoon had shot him earlier, but he showed no sign of pain. And yet here you are, killing again. She hasn't changed you as much as you think. I'm killing to protect. Not for money. Not for power. That's the difference. Eden stood slowly, gun in her shaking hands. Choi's eyes fixed on her with unsettling intensity. The famous smile. Let's see it now, when your life hangs in the balance. Go to hell, Eden said. Choi laughed. Even better. Spirit. I do appreciate spirit. He pulled a gun from behind his back with his good hand. But spirit doesn't stop bullets. Neither does arrogance. Nadia's voice came from the doorway. She stood there, gun trained on Choi. Drop it. More gunfire outside. Shouting. The sounds of Min-yoon's plan working. Choi's eyes narrowed. You brought mercenaries. Expensive choice. Worth every one, Min-yoon replied. Perhaps. But you've made a critical error. Choi's smile turned vicious. You assumed I was alone. The office doors burst open. Not from Nadia's side. From a hidden entrance behind the bookshelf. 6 more guards flooded in. Nadia opened fire. Min-yoon shoved Eden behind the overturned desk, joining the fight. The small office became a war zone. Bullets shredded furniture. Glass shattered. Eden pressed herself flat, hands over her ears. The gun Min-yoon had given her clutched uselessly in her grip. She saw Min-yoon moving with lethal precision. Saw Nadia take down 3 men with brutal efficiency. Saw bodies falling. Then she saw Choi, moving while everyone was distracted. Moving toward the door. Escaping. Eden didn't think. She jumped up, raising her gun. Stop. Choi paused, turning to look at her with genuine surprise. Are you really going to shoot me, coffee girl? Her hands shook. Every instinct screamed to lower the gun. To not become this. To not cross this line. Eden, don't. Min-yoon's voice cut through the chaos. Choi took a step toward her. You're not a killer. You make people smile. You serve coffee and believe in redemption. Another step. You don't have it in you. Eden's finger trembled on the trigger. He was right. She wasn't a killer. Didn't want to be. Taking a life, even one as rotten as Choi's, would change her forever. But then she thought of Sarah in that hospital bed. Of the journalist who begged before dying. Of the politician's daughter. Of every person Choi had destroyed. Of Min-yoon trying so hard to be better. You're right, Eden said quietly. I'm not a killer. Choi smiled victoriously. But I am a survivor. She squeezed the trigger. The shot went wide intentionally, hitting Choi's leg instead of center mass. He screamed, crumpling. Not dead, but down. The fight ended seconds later. The last guards either dead or fleeing. Silence fell heavy in the destroyed office. Min-yoon crossed to Eden in 3 strides, taking the gun gently from her trembling hands. You okay? I shot someone. Her voice sounded distant to her own ears. I actually shot someone. You did what you had to do. I didn't kill him. I know. Min-yoon pulled her against his chest. I know, and I love you for it. The words landed between them like a grenade. Eden pulled back, staring up at him. What did you say? Min-yoon's expression was raw, vulnerable, terrified. I said I love you. I don't know how. Don't know when it happened exactly. But somewhere between your smile and your stubbornness and your complete refusal to let me stay in darkness, I fell in love with you. Tears streamed down Eden's face. That's the best timing for a confession ever. Middle of a war zone, covered in dust, after I just shot someone. Should I have waited? Absolutely not. She grabbed his tactical vest, pulling him down into a kiss. Desperate. Relieved. Alive. The kiss broke when Nadia cleared her throat loudly. As touching as this is, we have a problem. Choi was crawling toward something. A panic button mounted under his desk. His finger reached it. Min-yoon fired. The button exploded in sparks. Choi's hand jerked back, missing by inches. That's connected to every Choi family operative in Seoul, Nadia said. If he'd pressed it, we'd have 50 men here in minutes. Then we move. Now. Min-yoon hauled Choi up by his collar. The older man hissed in pain, blood soaking through his pant leg where Eden's bullet had struck. You think this ends here? Choi spat. You think killing me solves anything? The family will hunt you forever. I'm not killing you, Min-yoon said coldly. That would be too easy. He pulled out his phone, dialing. Detective Park? It's Min-yoon. I have a gift for you. Everything you need to dismantle the Choi organization. Ledgers, records, names. And the man himself. A pause. Yes, I'll testify. Full immunity for the woman. Non-negotiable. Choi's face went pale. You're turning state's witness? You'll never survive it. Probably not. But at least I'll die clean. Sirens wailed in the distance. Growing closer. Min-yoon had timed this perfectly. The police raid coordinated with their attack. Marcus appeared in the doorway, Jean behind him. Both bloodied but alive. We need to move. More hostiles incoming from the east. The police will handle them, Min-yoon said. He turned to Eden. There's a car waiting 2 blocks north. Nadia will take you. No. Eden, listen. I said no. I'm staying with you. The police will arrest me. Process me. It could take days. You don't need to. I'm staying. Eden's voice was steel wrapped in velvet. You don't get to push me away now. Not after everything. Nadia laughed. She's tougher than half my recruits. I like her more every minute. The police burst in. Flashlights. Shouted commands. Guns trained on everyone. Min-yoon slowly raised his hands. I'm Min-yoon. I called Detective Park. I'm surrendering voluntarily. Detective Park, a weathered man in his 50s, pushed through the uniforms. His eyes widened seeing Choi bleeding on the floor. Is this real? You're really doing this. On one condition. Full immunity for Eden Hiley. She's a civilian caught in crossfire. Park looked at Eden, taking in her terrified expression, the gun Min-yoon had taken from her, the way she stood close to the assassin despite everything. She your girl? Yes. And she had nothing to do with your work? Nothing. She runs a coffee shop in Itaewon. Check her record. She's clean. Park nodded slowly. We'll need her statement, but immunity can be arranged. He gestured to his officers. Take Choi to the hospital under guard. Min-yoon goes to central booking. And someone get the woman a blanket. She's shaking. Eden was shaking. Adrenaline crash hitting hard. Her knees buckled. Min-yoon caught her before she fell, holding her upright. I've got you, he murmured. Always. You're leaving, Eden whispered. They're taking you away. Just for processing. I'll be out soon. You don't know that. He didn't. Couldn't promise. So instead, he kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Soft kisses. Gentle. Like he was memorizing her. Hey. Eden grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. This isn't goodbye. This is see you soon. You hear me? Something in his chest cracked open. See you soon. Promise me. Promise you'll fight to come back to me. I promise. The officers moved in, handcuffing him. Min-yoon didn't resist. Let himself be led away. But his eyes stayed locked on Eden until the last possible second. Then he was gone. Swallowed by police cars and sirens and the machine of justice he'd avoided for 20 years. Eden stood in the destroyed office, Nadia's arm around her shoulders, and finally let herself cry. The next 72 hours were brutal. Police interviews. Lawyers. Statements given and re-given. Eden told them everything. The coffee shop. The threats. The attack. How Min-yoon had protected her. She left out the parts about falling in love with an assassin. Some truths were too complicated for official reports. Sarah was released from the hospital on day 2. She came straight to the hotel where Eden was staying under police protection. You look terrible, Sarah said, hugging her carefully around her sling. You're one to talk. How's the arm? Broken, but healing. How's your soul? I heard you shot someone. Eden sank onto the bed. I did. His leg. To stop him from escaping. How do you feel about it? Horrible. Relieved. Guilty. Grateful I didn't kill him. Eden looked at her friend. Is that weird? Feeling all of it at once. That's human. Sarah sat beside her. You did what you had to do. That's survival, not murder. Min-yoon says the same thing. Speaking of your criminal boyfriend, have you seen him? Not since they took him away. They won't let me visit yet. He's in protective custody while they process his testimony. Eden's voice cracked. What if he changes his mind? What if he decides I'm not worth all this trouble? Sarah grabbed her hand. Eden, that man fought an entire crime family for you. He's not changing his mind. But doubt not at Eden anyway. 3 days felt like 3 years. Every hour without word from him stretched into eternity. On day 4, Detective Park called. He wants to see you. I can arrange a visit. Eden was in the car in minutes. The detention center was gray. Sterile. Everything the opposite of Min-yoon's expensive penthouse. Eden waited in a small room, hands clenched in her lap, heart hammering. Then the door opened. Min-yoon stepped through in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed in front of him. He looked tired. Thinner. But when his eyes found hers, they lit up with such intensity that Eden forgot how to breathe. Hi, she said stupidly. Hi. His voice was rough, like he'd spent days not speaking. The guard removed his cuffs, stepping outside to give them privacy. 30 minutes. That's all they had. Eden launched herself at him. Min-yoon caught her, arms wrapping tight, face buried in her hair. I missed you, she said against his chest. So much. Is that insane? For days, and I missed you like it was years. Not insane. I counted every hour. He pulled back to look at her. You're okay? Really okay? I am now. Her hands framed his face, thumbs brushing his cheekbones. What about you? Are they treating you well? Well enough. Better than I deserve. Stop that. You're cooperating. You're helping them dismantle an entire criminal organization. That counts for something. Min Yoon's jaw clenched. I'm also confessing to 53 murders, Eden. The prosecutor wants life without parole. Her stomach dropped. What? My lawyer thinks we can negotiate down to 25 years with my cooperation. Maybe 15 if we're lucky. That's half your life. That's mercy for what I've done. He cupped her face, wiping away tears she didn't realize were falling. But it's worth it. Because you're safe. Sarah's safe. And Choi's empire is crumbling. I don't want you to go to prison. I know. But it's the right thing. Screw the right thing. Eden's voice broke. I just found you. We just found each other. It's not fair. Life rarely is. Don't be philosophical. Be angry. Be something other than accepting. Min Yoon smiled sadly. I spent 20 years being angry. It's exhausting. For the first time, I'm choosing peace. Peace in prison? Peace knowing I did the right thing. Peace knowing you're out there living, smiling, being everything good in this world. His forehead pressed to hers. That's enough for me. Well, it's not enough for me. Eden pulled back, determination replacing despair. I'm hiring the best lawyer. I'm character witnessing. I'm fighting this. Eden. No. You don't get to give up. You promised to fight to come back to me, remember? And I will. However long it takes. 15 years is too long. Then I'll make parole in 10. 8 if I'm a model prisoner. He tried to joke, but it fell flat. Eden kissed him. Desperate. Clinging. Trying to pour all her love and fear and determination into it. He kissed back with equal desperation, hands tangling in her hair, holding her like she might disappear. When they broke apart, both were crying. I love you, Eden said. I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I love you, Min Yoon. And I'm not giving up on us. I love you too. More than I thought I was capable of loving anything. Then we fight. Together. Like we promised. The guard knocked. 5 minutes left. They spent those minutes holding each other. No more words. Just presence. Just the comfort of another heartbeat. When time was up and they pulled Min Yoon away again, Eden didn't cry. She stood tall, shoulders back, and smiled. That smile. The one that started everything. And Min Yoon smiled back. Small but real. A promise that this wasn't the end. Just a different kind of beginning. Outside, Detective Park was waiting. He'll go before the judge in a week. Sentencing hearing in a month if he pleads guilty. What are his chances? Park hesitated. Honestly? Not great. But his cooperation is unprecedented. And the prosecution knows that without his testimony, half these cases collapse. That's leverage. How much leverage? Maybe enough for 12 years instead of 25. With good behavior, out in 8. 8 years. Eden's heart sank. But she squared her shoulders. Then I'll wait 8 years. Park looked at her like she was crazy. You're young. You have your whole life ahead. You don't have to. I'm not leaving him. He didn't leave me when it mattered. I won't leave him now. The trial became Seoul's biggest story. News cameras everywhere. Headlines screaming about the Silent Blade's betrayal. The Choi family empire crumbling piece by piece as Min Yoon's testimony exposed decades of corruption. Eden attended every hearing. Front row. Every single day. She watched Min Yoon speak with calm precision, detailing horrors that made the courtroom gasp. Murders. Extortion. The systematic destruction of anyone who threatened Choi's power. He didn't hide from his crimes. Didn't make excuses. Just told the truth with unflinching honesty. The prosecution painted him as a monster. The defense argued he was a victim, groomed from childhood into violence. Both were partially right. But Eden saw something else. She saw a man choosing accountability. Choosing truth. Choosing a harder path because it was the right one. On day 12 of testimony, Min Yoon's lawyer called Eden to the stand. She walked to the witness box in a simple blue dress, hands steady despite her racing heart. Min Yoon's eyes tracked her every movement. Miss Hailey, the lawyer began. You run a coffee shop in Itaewon, correct? Yes. And you met the defendant when he came into your establishment? Yes. What was your first impression of Min Yoon? Eden looked directly at him. That he was the saddest person I'd ever seen. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. The lawyer continued. Sad? Not dangerous? Not frightening. Those two. But mostly sad. like someone who'd forgotten what it felt like to be happy. And you try to make him happy? By serving him special coffee. I try to make everyone happy. That's kind of my thing. A few quiet laughs. But yes, he looked like someone who needed kindness. Even after you learned what he did for a living? Eden's voice didn't waver. Especially then. Because people who do terrible things for a living need kindness more than anyone. Need someone to remind them they're still human underneath. The prosecutor objected. Your Honor, the witness is not qualified to make psychological assessments. Sustained. Miss Hiley, please stick to facts. Eden nodded. The fact is, Min Yoon saved my life. Multiple times. When Choi threatened me, Min Yoon chose to protect me even though it cost him everything. That's not the action of a monster. That's the action of someone capable of change. But he killed 3 men in your coffee shop. The prosecutor interjected on cross-examination. How do you justify that? I don't have to justify it. They were trying to kill us. He defended us. There's a difference between murder and protection. Is there? When the defender is a trained assassin. Yes, because assassins kill for money. Min Yoon killed to keep me alive. One is business. The other is love. The word hung in the courtroom. The prosecutor's eyes narrowed. You're in love with the defendant? Eden met his gaze steadily. Yes. And you expect this court to believe your testimony isn't biased? My testimony is absolutely biased. I'm biased toward truth. Toward redemption. Toward the belief that people can change if given the chance. She looked at the judge. Min Yoon did horrible things. I'm not denying that. But he's trying to make it right. He's cooperating fully, exposing an entire criminal network, putting his own life at risk. That has to count for something. The prosecutor pushed harder. Tell me, Miss Hiley, if the defendant is released, do you honestly believe he won't kill again? Eden didn't hesitate. Yes, I believe that absolutely. Based on what? A few weeks of knowing him. Based on seeing him every day choose the harder path. Choose honesty over escape. Choose accountability over freedom. Her voice strengthened. Based on watching a man who spent 20 years shutting down every emotion relearn how to feel. How to cry. How to hope. That's not someone who's going to return to killing. That's someone fighting to be better. When Eden stepped down, Min Yoon's eyes followed her. His lawyer had coached him not to show emotion in court. But his control cracked. He mouthed 2 words, thank you. She smiled. That smile. And mouthed back, always. The trial lasted 6 weeks. During that time, Eden's coffee shop remained closed. She couldn't bring herself to return to it. Too many memories. Too much blood still staining the floor beneath fresh paint. Instead, she volunteered at a women's shelter. Taught English to refugees. Kept herself busy so she wouldn't fall apart. Sarah recovered fully, returning to work at a different cafe. She called Eden every night. The verdict's tomorrow, Sarah said on week 6. How are you holding up? I'm terrified. Whatever happens, we'll handle it. Will we? If they give him life, Sarah, I don't know if I can handle that. Then we handle it together. You and me. Like always. Eden smiled through tears. When did you stop hating him? I don't not hate him. But I see what he did for you. How he protected you. And I see how you look at him. Sarah paused. Love makes us do stupid things. Like waiting for convicted criminals. It's not stupid. It's a little stupid. But it's also beautiful. In a tragic, complicated way. The verdict came down on a rainy Thursday. The courtroom was packed. Eden sat behind Min Yoon, close enough to touch him if not for the barrier between them. The judge read for what felt like hours. Guilty on multiple counts. The crimes detailed again in clinical language that stripped away humanity. Then came sentencing. Min Yoon, you have committed heinous acts. Taken lives. Caused immeasurable suffering. The judge's voice was stern but not without compassion. However, your cooperation has been extraordinary. Your testimony has led to the arrest of 43 individuals and the seizure of assets worth billions. You have shown genuine remorse and taken full accountability. Eden held her breath. Therefore, I am sentencing you to 12 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 8 years of good behavior. Eden's knees went weak with relief. 12 years. Not 15. Not 25. 12. Min Yoon's shoulders sagged. He'd been prepared for worse. However, the judge continued, "Given your cooperation and the extraordinary circumstances, I am recommending you serve your sentence in a minimum security facility with access to rehabilitation programs. Use this time wisely, Mr. Min, become the man Miss highly believes you can be." It was as close to mercy as the system allowed. They let Eden see him briefly before transport. 5 minutes in a small room. Min Yoon pulled her into his arms the second the door closed. 12 years. I can do 12 years. 8 with parole, Eden corrected. You'll be a model prisoner. I'll try. He pulled back, cupping her face. But Eden, 8 years is a long time. You don't have to wait. We're not having this conversation again. I'm serious. You're 27. By the time I'm out, you'll be 35. Those are years you could spend living, meeting someone who isn't in prison. Eden kissed him to shut him up. Hard. Possessive. I'm waiting. End of discussion. You're impossibly stubborn. You're impossibly noble. We both have our flaws. She rested her forehead against his. 8 years. We can do 8 years. You'll visit. Every week they allow. I'll write every day. I'll send you photos of sunrises and new coffee blends and everything beautiful happening outside, so you don't forget there's a world waiting for you. Min Yoon's eyes glistened. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. The guard knocked. Time was up. One last kiss. Desperate. Full of promise. Then he was gone again. Eden walked out of the courthouse into rain. Reporters swarmed, shouting questions. She ignored them, head down, moving through the crowd. But one voice cut through. Miss Hiley, one question. She paused. Do you really believe he's changed? Eden turned, looking directly at the camera. I believe people are more than the worst thing they've ever done. I believe in second chances. And I believe Min Yoon is proof that it's never too late to choose a better path. She smiled. So yes, I believe he's changed. And I'll be here when he gets out to see what kind of man he becomes. The clip went viral. Within hours, Eden became a face for criminal justice reform. For redemption. For loving the supposedly unlovable. She didn't want the attention. But she used it anyway. Started a foundation for rehabilitation programs in prisons. Raised money for inmates trying to rebuild their lives. If she had to wait 8 years, she'd make them count. Month 3 of Min Yoon's sentence, Eden reopened the coffee shop. Not the same location. Somewhere new. Fresh start. She called it Second Chances. The walls were painted warm yellow. Photos of Ethiopia hung alongside Korean art. And on the counter, a small sign. Everyone deserves kindness. Especially those who think they don't. Business was slow at first. Then the story spread. People came out of curiosity. Stayed because the coffee was exceptional and the owner's smile was contagious. Sarah came back as her business partner. Together, they built something beautiful. And every Sunday, Eden closed early and drove 2 hours to the prison where Min Yoon was serving his sentence. The visits were hard. Talking through plexiglass. Limited touching. Watching him struggle with confinement and guilt and the slow, painful work of rehabilitation. But every week, he smiled a little easier. Spoke a little lighter. Shared stories about his therapy sessions, the books he was reading, the woodworking class he'd joined. I made you something, he said during month 7, holding up a small carved bird. They let me mail it if you want it. Eden pressed her hand to the glass. I want it. I want everything you make. It's not very good. The wings are uneven. It's perfect. You're biased. Absolutely. She grinned. How's the therapy going? Min Yoon's expression turned serious. Hard. Dr. Kim makes me talk about things I've spent 20 years burying. Childhood. The first kill. All of it. Is it helping? I think so. I'm starting to understand why I became what I became. Understanding doesn't excuse it, but it helps me see how to be different. I'm proud of you. His voice cracked. How? How can you be proud of me? Because you're doing the work. Because facing your past takes more courage than running from it. Because every day you choose to be better is a victory. Year 2 brought challenges. The media attention faded, but the reality of waiting settled in heavy and grinding. Eden threw herself into the coffee shop, into her foundation work, into anything that kept her busy. But nights were hardest. Alone in her apartment, Min Yoon's carved bird on her nightstand, she felt the weight of his absence like a physical ache. Sarah found her crying one evening, surrounded by letters Min-yoon had sent. Dozens of them. His handwriting getting steadier, more confident with each month. Bad day? Sarah asked, sitting beside her. I miss him so much it hurts. Is that pathetic? Missing a man I barely knew outside of Crisis. You know him better than anyone. Crisis shows who people really are. Sarah picked up one of the letters, reading. Listen to this. Today in group therapy, we talked about love. I realized I spent 20 years afraid to feel anything because feeling meant weakness. But you taught me that feeling is strength. Thank you for that. Eden, this man is pouring his heart out to you. I know, but I want him here. I want to touch him, hold him, wake up next to him. Eden wiped her eyes. 2 years down. 6 to go. Some days that feels impossible. So take it one day at a time. 1 week. 1 visit. What if he gets out and realizes I'm not worth the wait? That the fantasy was better than the reality. Sarah grabbed her shoulders. Stop. That man carved you a bird with uneven wings and was proud of it. He writes you every day. He's taking psychology courses in prison to understand himself better for you. He's not going anywhere. Eden nodded, trying to believe it. The next visit, Min-yoon noticed immediately. You've been crying. I'm fine. Don't lie to me. Not through glass. His eyes searched hers. What's wrong? Eden sighed. Just a hard week. Missing you. Doubting everything. Doubting us. Doubting whether I'm strong enough to do this for 6 more years. Min-yoon leaned forward, pressing his hand to the glass. Eden matched it on her side. You are the strongest person I know. But if this is too much, if you need to walk away, don't. Eden's voice sharpened. Don't you dare give me an easy out. I'm having a moment of weakness. That's allowed. It doesn't mean I'm leaving. I just don't want you to feel trapped. I'm not trapped. I'm choosing this. There's a difference. She softened. But I need you to choose it too. To fight through the hard days the way I'm fighting through mine. I am. Every day. You're what keeps me going in here. Then we keep going. Together. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Something shifted in his expression. I love you more than I did yesterday. Less than I will tomorrow. Eden's breath caught. That's beautiful. Where'd you learn that? Poetry class. Turns out I'm terrible at poetry but good at stealing lines. He smiled, that small smile that still made her heart flip. Teacher says I write like someone who's discovering emotions for the first time. You kind of are. I know. It's terrifying and amazing, and I hate that you're not here to experience it with me. I'm experiencing it through your letters. Through these visits. That's enough. But was it? That question haunted Eden as year 2 became year 3. The coffee shop thrived. Her foundation expanded. She won awards for her rehabilitation advocacy work. On paper, her life was successful, meaningful, full. But she went home alone every night. Friends tried setting her up on casual dates. Just dinner. Just conversation. You're allowed to have a life. She refused every time. It felt like betrayal, even though Min-yoon had explicitly told her she shouldn't put her life on hold. Year 3, month 4, Min-yoon called her during his allotted phone time. His voice was strange. Tight. What's wrong? Eden asked immediately. There was an incident. A fight in the yard. Her stomach dropped. Are you hurt? No. But the other guy is. Badly. He paused. He came at me with a shank. I defended myself. But Eden, I didn't just stop him. I kept going. Guards had to pull me off. Oh God. I'm in solitary now. They're investigating. My parole, his voice broke. I might lose my parole eligibility. Eden's world tilted. No, you were defending yourself. Doesn't matter. I have a history. They're saying I used excessive force. That I reverted to old patterns. Did you? Silence. Then, quietly, I don't know. He came at me and something just switched. Muscle memory. Training. I became the silent blade again for 30 seconds, and it felt easy. Natural. Like I never left. Eden's eyes filled with tears. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe everyone was right. Maybe I can't change. Maybe the violence is too deep. Stop. Min-yoon, listen to me. You were attacked. You defended yourself. That doesn't mean you haven't changed. I could have killed him, Eden. Would have if the guards hadn't stopped me. That's not defense. That's That's trauma response. That's your body remembering how to survive. It doesn't erase 3 years of work. She pressed closer to the phone. Did you want to kill him? What? In that moment, when you were hitting him, did you want him dead? Min Yoon considered. No. I wanted him to stop. To not hurt me. He exhaled shakily. I was scared. That's why I kept going. I was terrified. Then that's different. The old you didn't feel fear. Didn't feel anything. The fact that you were scared means you're not the same person. The review board won't see it that way. Then I'll make them see it. I'll testify. I'll bring character witnesses. I'll fight this. Eden. No. You don't get to give up. Not now. Not after 3 years. We fight. Like we always do. The hearing took 2 months. Eden brought letters from Min Yoon's therapist, his woodworking instructor, other inmates who testified he'd become a mentor to younger prisoners. She brought Sarah, who spoke about the man she'd watched transform through letters and visits. And Eden herself testified with fierce conviction about the difference between a man defending his life and a killer reverting to type. The board deliberated for a week. Decision. Incident was self-defense. Excessive force, but justified given the circumstances. Parole eligibility maintained. But Min Yoon would be transferred to a different facility with more intensive rehabilitation programs. Eden cried with relief. The new facility was 4 hours away instead of 2. But she drove it every week anyway. Year 4 brought unexpected developments. A documentary filmmaker wanted to tell their story. Eden initially refused. Our story isn't for entertainment, she told the filmmaker. It's not entertainment. It's hope. Do you know how many people your advocacy has helped? How many families of incarcerated individuals reach out to your foundation? Your story could change perspectives on redemption and rehabilitation. Eden discussed it with Min Yoon during their next visit. It's your choice, he said. I'm not sure I want my worst moments televised, but if it helps others, he shrugged. Maybe something good can come from all this pain. They agreed. The documentary filmed over 6 months. Prison interviews with Min Yoon. Footage of Eden at the coffee shop, at foundation events, driving to visits. Sarah's perspective. Even Detective Park, who'd become an unlikely advocate for Min Yoon's rehabilitation. The documentary premiered at a film festival in year 5. Eden attended with Sarah, nervous about how Min Yoon would be portrayed. The film was honest. Didn't sugarcoat his crimes. But it also showed his transformation. The letters. The therapy sessions. The slow, painful work of becoming someone new. The audience gave it a standing ovation. A woman approached Eden afterward, crying. My son is serving 15 years. I thought he was lost forever. But watching this, she grabbed Eden's hands. You gave me hope that he can change too. Thank you. That's when Eden understood. Their story wasn't just theirs anymore. It belonged to everyone fighting for second chances. The documentary went viral online. Millions of views. Debates raged in comments. Some called Eden foolish. Others called her inspirational. Some called Min Yoon irredeemable. Others saw proof that change was possible. Through it all, Eden and Min Yoon stayed focused on what mattered. Each other. The work. The waiting. Year 6, Min Yoon's parole hearing was scheduled. Eden prepared like she was going to war. Organized testimonials from dozens of people. Prison staff. Fellow inmates. Therapists. Victims' families who'd forgiven him through restorative justice programs he'd participated in. She wore a yellow dress to the hearing. Hope. Sunshine. Everything she represented. Min Yoon was brought in wearing his prison uniform, hands cuffed. But he stood tall. Looked the parole board in the eye. Answered every question with unflinching honesty. Do you believe you've been rehabilitated? The board chair asked. I believe I'm being rehabilitated. Every day. It's not a destination. It's a process. Min Yoon glanced at Eden in the gallery. I'll spend the rest of my life working to be worthy of the second chance I've been given. And if released, what are your plans? I have a job lined up at a woodworking shop. The owner is willing to hire me despite my record. I'll continue therapy. I'll work with Miss Hale's foundation, speaking to at-risk youth about the consequences of violence. And I'll try to live a quiet, peaceful life. With Miss Haley? Min Yoon's voice softened. If she'll still have me after 8 years. Every eye turned to Eden. She smiled through tears. Always. The board deliberated for 3 hours. Eden paced the hallway, Sarah beside her, both silent with anxiety. Finally, they were called back in. Min-yoon, this board has reviewed your case extensively. Your crimes were heinous. However, your rehabilitation has been exemplary. Your cooperation with law enforcement has saved countless lives. And your remorse appears genuine. Eden's heart hammered. Therefore, we are granting parole, effective in 6 months, with strict conditions. Weekly check-ins with a parole officer. Continued therapy. No weapons. No contact with any criminal organizations. Any violation results in immediate return to custody. Min-yoon's knees nearly buckled. Thank you. I won't let you down. 6 months. After 8 years, 6 more months felt like nothing and forever. Those final 6 months crawled by with agonizing slowness. Eden prepared obsessively. She found Min-yoon a small apartment near the coffee shop. Furnished it simply. Warm colors. Soft textures. Nothing cold or institutional. She stocked the kitchen with basics. Bought him civilian clothes since he'd have nothing but his prison uniform. Created a space that felt like home, not a cell. Sarah watched her friend's frantic preparations with gentle amusement. You're nesting. I'm preparing. You rearranged his bookshelf 3 times yesterday. I want everything perfect. Eden. Sarah caught her hands. He's not going to care if the books are alphabetized or color-coded. He's going to care that you're there. What if it's weird? What if we don't know how to be together outside of crisis and glass barriers? Then you figure it out. Together. Like everything else. The night before Min-yoon's release, Eden couldn't sleep. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, mind racing with possibilities. What if 8 years had changed him too much? What if she'd built up a fantasy that reality couldn't match? What if the man she loved through letters and brief visits couldn't exist in the mundane world of grocery shopping and morning coffee? Her phone buzzed at 3 a.m. A text from an unknown number. Can't sleep either. Scared and excited and everything in between. See you in 9 hours. I love you. My. Eden smiled through tears. They'd given him phone privileges for his last night. She texted back immediately. 9 hours. I'll be there. Yellow dress. Big smile. Ready for our beginning. I love you too. She managed 3 hours of restless sleep before giving up. Showered. Put on the yellow dress she'd promised. Did her makeup carefully. Braided her hair the way Min-yoon said he liked in one of his letters. Sarah arrived at 7 to drive with her. You look beautiful. And terrified. Both accurate. The drive to the prison felt eternal. Every red light was a personal attack. Every slow driver a conspiracy to keep them apart longer. They arrived 30 minutes early. Eden paced the parking lot, unable to sit still. What if he walks out and realizes this was a mistake? She asked for the 100th time. Then we deal with it. But he won't. Sarah squeezed her shoulder. That man has loved you through 8 years of hell. He's not changing his mind now. At exactly 9 a.m., the prison doors opened. Min-yoon stepped out into sunlight, holding a small box of belongings. He wore the clothes Eden had sent. Dark jeans. Simple gray sweater. He looked thinner than she remembered. Older. But his eyes, searching the parking lot frantically, were the same. They found her. Everything else disappeared. The prison. Sarah. The parking lot. The world. Eden ran. Min-yoon dropped his box and met her halfway. The collision was fierce. Desperate. 8 years of separation compressed into one embrace. He lifted her off the ground, face buried in her neck, shoulders shaking. You're real, he whispered brokenly. You're really here. I'm here. I'm here. Eden held him tighter, feeling the solid warmth of him. No glass between them. No guards watching. Just them. Finally. I've got you. They stood like that for long minutes, neither willing to let go first. When they finally pulled back, both were crying. Min-yoon's hands framed her face, thumbs wiping her tears. You're more beautiful than I remembered. You're skinnier. We need to feed you. He laughed. Actually laughed. The sound rusty but genuine. I've been dreaming about your Ethiopian coffee for 8 years. Then let's go home. Home. The words settled between them with weight and promise. Sarah drove, giving them the back seat. Min-yoon held Eden's hand like a lifeline, staring at her like he was afraid she'd disappear. Is this weird? Eden asked softly. Does this feel weird? Completely. Also perfect. Can it be both? I think it has to be both. He looked out the window, watching Seoul pass by. Everything's so loud. So fast. I forgot how much the world moves. We can take it slow. There's no rush. I have about 8 years of touching you to make up for. That feels urgent. Heat flooded Eden's cheeks. Sarah snorted from the front seat. Get a room, you two. Planning on it, Min-yoon said, surprising them both with his boldness. They stopped at the apartment first. Min-yoon stood in the doorway, taking it in. You did all this? Sarah helped. Do you like it? He walked through slowly, touching things. The soft couch. The books she'd chosen. The carved bird he'd made her, displayed on a shelf. Photos she'd printed of them through the years. Prison visits. His woodworking projects. Letters. You kept everything, he said, voice thick. Of course I did. This is our story. He turned to her, eyes shining. I don't deserve this. Any of this. Stop saying that. It's true. Eden crossed to him, pulling him down into a kiss. Not desperate this time. Slow. Thorough. 8 years of longing poured into it. When they broke apart, Min-yoon rested his forehead against hers. I'm going to be bad at this. At being normal. At being the kind of man you deserve. I don't want normal. I want real. I want you, however you are. I might have nightmares. Panic attacks. Days where the guilt crushes me. Then I'll hold you through the nightmares. Breathe with you through the panic. Sit with you in the guilt. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple. But it's worth it. Sarah cleared her throat from the doorway. I'm heading out. Leaving you two alone. Eden, call me later. After she left, silence filled the apartment. Not uncomfortable, but charged. Aware. Are you hungry? Eden asked. I could make us breakfast. No. Coffee? Later. Min-yoon took her hand, pulling her closer. Right now, I just want to hold you. In a space that's ours. Without time limits or glass or guards. They moved to the couch. Eden curled into his side, his arm wrapped around her shoulders. They fit together perfectly, like puzzle pieces finally aligned. Tell me about the coffee shop, he said. Your letters mentioned it, but I want to hear your voice tell me. So Eden talked. About rebuilding after the violence. About the customers who became family. About the foundation and the lives they'd helped change. About Sarah's terrible jokes and the new barista who couldn't make lattes to save his life, but had a heart of gold. Min-yoon listened, really listened, his fingers tracing patterns on her arm. You built an empire while I was gone. I built a life worth coming home to. For me. For both of us. He tilted her chin up, kissing her softly. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret waiting. I already don't regret it. The kiss deepened. 8 years of separation, of longing, of love maintained through letters and brief visits, finally given space to breathe. Min-yoon pulled back, breathing hard. We should slow down. Why? Because I've fantasized about this for 8 years, and I don't want to rush it. Eden stood, extending her hand. Then don't rush. But don't make me wait either. I've done enough waiting. His eyes darkened with understanding. He took her hand, letting her lead him to the bedroom. Sunlight streamed through the windows, painting everything gold. Eden had chosen soft blue sheets. Simple but comfortable. A space for healing and new beginnings. Min-yoon stood at the foot of the bed, suddenly uncertain. I don't know if I remember how to be gentle. Then relearn with me. She reached for him, and he met her halfway. Kissing. Touching. Rediscovering each other without barriers. His hands were reverent, tracing her face, her shoulders, her curves like she was something precious and breakable. You're real, he kept whispering. This is real. I'm real. We're real. Eden pulled him closer, helping him out of his sweater. And we have all the time in the world. They took their time. No rushing. No desperation. Just presence. Just the miracle of skin against skin, breath mingling, bodies remembering what letters and glass could never convey. Min-yoon was gentle. Almost too gentle. Like he was afraid of his own strength. I won't break, Eden assured him. I know. But I spent 8 years dreaming of this moment. Let me savor it. So they savored. Every touch. Every kiss. Every whispered confession. They made love like people learning each other for the first time and like souls who'd known each other for lifetimes. Afterward, they lay tangled together, sunlight warming their skin. Min-yoon's fingers traced lazy patterns on Eden's shoulder. "I love you," he said quietly. "I don't think I've said it enough. I love you. For waiting. For believing. For seeing something in me worth saving." Eden turned to face him, fingers tracing the sharp line of his jaw. "I love you too. For choosing the hard path. For becoming someone new. For proving that change is possible. What do we do now? Now, we live. We build. We figure out what normal looks like for us. I start at the woodworking shop Monday. And I have the coffee shop. We'll build routines. Lives. Something stable and boring and beautiful." Min-yoon smiled, that smile she'd fought 8 years to preserve. Boring sounds perfect. They spent the rest of the day in that apartment, cooking together. Min-yoon was terrible in the kitchen, but Eden patiently taught him. They laughed when he burned toast, kissed when he successfully chopped vegetables. Evening came. They sat on the balcony, watching Seoul's lights flicker to life. Min-yoon's arm around Eden's shoulders, her head on his chest. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked quietly. "Waiting so long? Missing out on other relationships?" "Never. Not once." She looked up at him. "Do you regret turning yourself in? Losing 8 years? Not if it meant becoming someone worthy of you. You were always worthy. You just didn't know it yet. You really believe that?" "With everything I am." Min-yoon kissed the top of her head, holding her closer. "Then we'll make the next 8 years count. And the 8 after that. And every year we're given." That's a lot of years. Not nearly enough. The first month of freedom was harder than Min-yoon expected. Everything overwhelmed him. The noise of traffic. Crowds in the coffee shop. The simple act of choosing what to eat for dinner. After 8 years of rigid structure, freedom felt like drowning in options. Eden found him on the bathroom floor one night, 3 weeks in, having a panic attack. "Too much space," he gasped. "Too many choices. Too much everything." She sat beside him, taking his hand. "Breathe with me. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. They breathed together until his heart stopped racing. "I'm sorry," he said afterward, embarrassed. "I thought I'd be better at this." "You're doing amazing. You're adjusting to an entirely different world. Give yourself grace." "I don't know how." "Then I'll teach you. The same way you're teaching yourself to be gentle, to be present, to be free." The woodworking job helped. The shop owner, Mr. Park, was a veteran who understood rehabilitation. He gave Min-yoon space to work silently, to lose himself in the grain of wood and the precision of cuts. "You're good at this," Mr. Park observed one afternoon, watching Min-yoon craft an intricate table leg. "Patient. Careful." "I'm used to precision work," Min-yoon replied, then realized what he'd implied. "Sorry. That was. I know your history. Don't apologize for your past. Just build a better future." Mr. Park handed him sandpaper. One piece at a time. At the coffee shop, Eden introduced Min-yoon slowly to regulars. Some recognized him from the documentary. Reactions were mixed. An older woman refused to be served. "I don't drink coffee made by murderers." Min-yoon started to retreat, but Eden stopped him. "Then you can leave. We don't serve closed-minded people here either." The woman left in a huff. Min-yoon stared at Eden. "You just turned away a customer for me. I'll turn away 100 customers if they can't see who you are now." "Who am I now?" "Someone trying. Someone learning. Someone brave enough to face his past instead of running from it." She squeezed his hand. "That's enough." But not everyone was hostile. A young man approached tentatively one afternoon. "You're Min-yoon, right? From the documentary." Min-yoon tensed. "Yes. I just wanted to say thank you. My brother's in prison. 10-year sentence. I thought he was lost. But watching your story gave my family hope. So thank you." After he left, Min-yoon sat down heavily. "That was unexpected." "People are rooting for you," Sarah said, wiping down a table. "More than you realize." "And the ones who aren't?" "Screw them," Eden said simply, making both Min-yoon and Sarah laugh. 2 months in, Min-yoon's parole officer, Officer Chin, did a routine check. She walked through the apartment, asking questions, observing interactions between Min-yoon and Eden. "You seem well-adjusted," Chin noted. "That's rare for someone with your history." "I have help," Min-yoon said, looking at Eden. Support systems matter. But you're doing the work. I can see it. Chin closed her notebook. Keep it up. Next check-in is in 2 weeks. After she left, Min-yoon exhaled shakily. Every time she visits, I'm terrified she'll find a reason to send me back. She won't. Because you're doing everything right. What if I mess up? What if I lose control again like I did in prison? Eden moved to stand in front of him, hands on his shoulders. Then we handle it. You're not doing this alone. You have therapy. You have me. You have Sarah and Mr. Park and everyone else who believes in you. That's not nothing. 3 months in, the nightmares started. Min-yoon woke screaming, drenched in sweat, seeing faces of people he'd killed. Eden held him through each one, whispering reassurances until his breathing calmed. They won't stop, he said after a particularly bad night. The faces. They're always there. Have you told your therapist? Yes. She says it's normal. Part of processing. But Eden, some nights I wonder if I deserve peace. If the nightmares are punishment I've earned. You've already served your punishment. 8 years in prison. A lifetime of guilt. You don't have to torture yourself forever. How do I forgive myself when the people I hurt never can? You can't. Not fully. But you can honor them by being better. By helping others avoid your path. That's what your foundation work does. Min-yoon had started speaking at youth detention centers. Sharing his story. Warning kids about the path he'd taken. It was brutal, reliving his worst moments. But if it saved even one kid from becoming what he'd been, it was worth it. A 15-year-old boy approached him after one talk. Did you really kill 53 people? Min-yoon didn't flinch. Yes. And you regret it? Every single day. But you're out now. Living normal. That's not fair to the people you killed. The words hit like bullets. Because they were true. You're right. It's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. They're dead because of my choices. Their families live with that pain forever. I get a second chance they don't get. Min-yoon leaned forward. But I can either waste that second chance hating myself, or I can use it to make sure others don't follow my path. Which do you think honors them better? The boy considered. Using it. Then that's what I do. Every day. It doesn't fix what I broke. But it's all I have. For months in, Eden found Min-yoon crying in the workshop late one night. Sawdust on his cheeks mixing with tears. What happened? She asked gently. I finished a project today. A rocking chair. Mr. Park said it was beautiful. And for just a moment, I felt proud. Proud of creating something instead of destroying. He looked at her with devastated eyes. What right do I have to feel proud? To feel anything good? Eden knelt beside him. You have every right. You're human. Humans feel complicated things. Joy and guilt can exist together. It feels wrong. I know. But it's not. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to find moments of happiness. That doesn't dishonor the people you hurt. It honors the possibility of change. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple. But it's true. She took his hands. Min-yoon, if you spend the rest of your life punishing yourself, what's the point? You served your time. You're doing the work. At some point, you have to let yourself be human again. What if I don't remember how? Then we keep practicing. Every day. Until it feels natural again. 5 months in, Sarah threw a small dinner party. Just close friends. People who knew their story and supported them. It was Min-yoon's first social gathering in nearly a decade. He was terrified. What do I talk about? What if I say something wrong? What if they're only pretending to accept me? Then you be yourself. Talk about woodworking. About coffee. About whatever feels natural. Eden adjusted his color. And if it's too much, we leave. No judgment. The dinner was awkward at first. Min-yoon sat stiffly, answering questions in monosyllables. But then Mr. Park started talking about a complicated joint technique, and Min-yoon's eyes lit up. He launched into an explanation of grain direction and stress points, hands moving expressively. Eden watched him come alive talking about something he loved. Watched him smile. Laugh at a joke. Be present. On the drive home, he was quiet. Then, that was nice. It was. I forgot what normal socializing felt like. Without guards or time limits or fear. You did great. I talked for 20 minutes about wood grain. That's not great. That's boring. Mr. Park loved it. You connected. That's what matters. Min-yoon took her hand. Thank you. For what? For giving me reasons to keep trying. For making life feel worth living. 6 months in, they established routines. Min-yoon woke early, went for a run to manage anxiety, worked at the shop, met with his therapist twice weekly, helped Eden at the coffee shop in the evenings. They cooked dinner together, read side by side, made love slowly, learning each other more deeply with each touch. It was boring, mundane, beautifully ordinary. And for Min-yoon, who'd lived in chaos and violence for so long, ordinary felt like a miracle. One evening, as they washed dishes together, Eden spoke. "I want to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly." "Okay, are you happy?" Min-yoon considered the question seriously. "I'm not sure I know what happy feels like yet, but I'm content, peaceful, grateful." He dried his hands, turning to face her. "I wake up next to you. I create things with my hands. I help kids avoid my mistakes. I have friends, a life, hope for the future." His voice softened. "If that's not happiness, it's close enough. Close enough works for me." 7 months in, Min-yoon proposed. Not with a ring. With a carved wooden box he'd made, containing a simple band inside. They were at the park where they'd first talked about the future. Sunset painting the sky in purples and golds. "I know it's fast by normal standards, but we've been together for nearly 9 years if you count the waiting." He knelt, hands shaking. "Eden Hiley, you saved my life. Not by fixing me, but by believing I could fix myself. You waited 8 years for a maybe. I want to spend the rest of my life making sure it was worth it." Tears streamed down his face. "Will you marry me?" Eden was crying too. "Yes. Yes, of course yes." He slid the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Like everything about them. Imperfect but right. 8 months after his release, they married at City Hall. Small ceremony. Sarah as witness. Mr. Park and Officer Chen attending. The documentary filmmaker captured it, the final chapter of their story. Eden wore yellow. Min-yoon wore a suit he'd bought himself with his first real paycheck. They exchanged vows written in letters over 8 years. "I promise to keep choosing you," Min-yoon said. "Every day. Through nightmares and healing. Through guilt and grace. I promise to build a life worthy of your faith. I promise to keep seeing you," Eden replied. "Not the man you were. Not the man you think you should be. But the man you are. Growing. Trying. Loving. I promise to walk beside you. Always." They sealed it with a kiss. And for the first time in his life, Min-yoon felt fully, completely free. Months became years. The nightmares lessened. The guilt remained but grew manageable. Min-yoon's woodworking business expanded. Eden's foundation flourished. They bought a small house with a workshop in back and a garden Eden filled with Ethiopian coffee plants. They had hard days. Days when Min-yoon's past crashed into their present. Days when Eden doubted whether love was enough. But they kept choosing each other. Kept showing up. Kept building. 3 years after his release, Eden gave birth to a daughter. They named her Hope. Min-yoon held his infant daughter with hands that had once destroyed, now creating life, protecting it. "She's perfect," he whispered, tears streaming. "She's ours," Eden corrected. "And she's going to grow up knowing that people can change. That second chances matter. That love wins." Min-yoon looked at his wife, his daughter, the life they'd built from ashes and impossible odds. "Love wins," he repeated. "I'm starting to believe that." "Good. Because I've always known it." 5 years after release, Min-yoon's parole ended. He was finally, truly free. That evening, they sat on their porch, Hope asleep inside, watching Seoul's lights twinkle in the distance. "What do you want to do now?" Eden asked. "Now that you're completely free?" Min-yoon pulled her closer. "Exactly this. Come home to you. Kiss our daughter goodnight. Build furniture. Drink your terrible coffee. My coffee is excellent. And live the most boring, beautiful life imaginable." He kissed her temple. That's freedom. Not the absence of constraints, but the presence of choice. "And I choose this. Every time." Eden smiled. That smile that started everything. The smile that saved a killer and proved that redemption was possible. "Then that's what we'll do," she said. "We'll choose this. Every day. For the rest of our lives." And they did. In Seoul, where darkness and light danced together, where a coffee shop owner once smiled at a broken assassin, where impossible love survived against every odd, Eden and Min-yoon built something extraordinary from something terrible. They built a life. They built hope. They built proof that it's never too late to change. Never too late to choose better. Never too late to love and be loved in return. Their story became legend. Not because it was easy, but because it was real. Because sometimes the most powerful thing in the world is a smile. And sometimes that smile finds someone in darkness and refuses to let go until they step into the light. This is their story. The silent blade who learned to love. The coffee shop owner who refused to give up. And the 8 years that proved love is patient. Love is kind. Love is fierce. Love is choosing someone. Every day. Through everything. And love, in the end, always wins. Thank you for staying with Eden and Minyoon through every moment of their journey. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe for more Afro love diaries. Tell us in the comments, would you wait 8 years for love? What was your favorite moment? We read every comment and your words fuel our next stories. Share this with someone who believes in second chances, in redemption, in the power of love to transform even the darkest souls. Until next time, remember, everyone deserves kindness, especially those who think they don't. This is Afro-Korean Vibe Stories, where every heartbeat tells a story.